Hello, I'm going to do a video on the effects of corporal punishment on children. A lot of us have been taught that it's okay to discipline your child by spanking them in order to get their quick attention and to let them know that what they're doing is incorrect. But there's been numerous studies done in order to show that corporal punishment actually causes more damage to children than it does good. Now, a lot of parents will tell you that when they were raised, they were brought up to know that corporal punishment was okay. They were even hit with rulers in school in order to be taught that what they were doing was not okay and it would make them behave better. Nowadays, a lot of your elderly people or older generations will tell you that the reason that children act so out of control is because of the fact that they do not get spanked or hit. But from the studies that have been done, it shows that when we hit a child, we're actually teaching that child that that's how you solve an issue. When you become angered or upset with somebody else, you use physical harm to make them do what you want them to do. So when a parent uses corporal punishment at home and then their child gets in trouble at school for hitting another child, they're only doing what they've been taught, because when their parent is angered with them, the parent hits them. So we're teaching our children that violence is okay in order to solve your issues, which honestly, this world has enough violence. It's one of the last things we need to be teaching our children. Another issue that corporal punishment causes is it's causing harm to that child. When a child is hurt, they usually run to a parent for comforting and, for them to love on them and let them know that it's okay and make them feel better. When a child's raised with corporal punishment, they fear that parent to the point where they can't go to them when something's hurting them, to have that safe zone. So we're causing more damage with that child because the parent and child relationship is being harmed based on that. When it comes to the child as they grow older, children that have corporal punishment growing up, they have more issues with getting along in society. They can have antisocial behaviors because of the aspects of corporal punishment. They can also have more likeliness of having depression, which causes a child more harm. It can also have issues with their schooling. It can cause children to do not as well when it comes to education. It makes them feel less about themselves when they have corporal punishment. Instead of being able to sit down and discuss with your child what they did wrong and actually, limiting what they have in order to make them think about what they did and have more time to think about it. A lot of times corporal punishment is a quick reaction to get your child's attention, but in the long run, you're not doing as much good for that child, because what did they learn? They learned that violence is the answer when you have a problem. They're learning to fear that parent to the point where they don't have that safe zone to go to. And they're also going to have more damage to themselves based on their mental health as they age and grow up. So how do we fix that? What is going to be the best way to help parents with these issues? Why do parents choose violence in order corporal punishment to teach their children that what they're doing is wrong? A lot of it comes from lack of education on how to parent a child. Parents mimic what they see. When you have a child that doesn't come with a handbook and tell you how to do what you need to do for that child or what's the best thing to do for them, instead it's a learning basis day to day. A lot of your lower education programs in schools have parent nights where the parents can come in and have dinner and also learn parenting skills, because that way they can help to raise a child that's going to do better and succeed in life. When it comes to most parents, they use corporal punishment because of lack of education on how to parent a child. They do what they know, and they were raised with being spanked or hit. So that's what they do in order to make sure that their child is growing up in a way that they think is going to work best. The numerous sayings of, spare the rod, save the child. It's not so much stating that you shouldn't discipline your child. It is stating not to use corporal punishment, because you shouldn't be hitting your child, because you're teaching them so many things that are harming them. But it's teaching you that there is other ways to discipline a child. It's not stating to not discipline at all, because then your child's going to be out of control. But it would be teaching them that there's other ways. They're going to learn from you using talking to them to help them and understand what they did wrong, to use that when they go on in life, such as in the workforce or even interacting with other peers their age. They learn that they can talk about their problems with somebody in order to get an issue resolved. Another issue that corporal punishment causes is anxiety in children because they are anxious. They can't trust to be safe at home, so why can they trust to be safe anywhere? Corporal punishment raises many red flags. It makes people think that it's not okay to discipline their children. Some people say if they hit their children, then they're going to get CPS called on them and they're afraid of losing their children. In the long run, their main reason not to use corporal punishment is going to be because it damages the child both mentally. It can make them have social issues for the rest of their life. And it's a short-term punishment. When you hit them, it gets their attention for that moment, but it's going to cause them to be more aggressive. And it's also going to cause them not to trust their parents or to have a estranged relationship with their parents due to the corporal punishment. Children nowadays are so stressed out and anxious as it is with what they grow up with compared to back when we were younger and we didn't have to worry about if our school was going to be under gunfire when we go to school or if somebody was going to try to blow up the school. And so why should parents cause more damage to their children in order to discipline them? So how can we change this? How can we educate parents on the difference in social norms? In other countries and other areas, they started to put into guidelines and laws about children's rights, and that corporal punishment was against children's rights. It was causing them to have more issues, and it was making it where when you violate the child's rights, then you are at risk for being in trouble. And through the social norms of people realizing that this is not something that's acceptable behavior, the way that children have been punished has been changed from using corporal punishment to using more suitable, such as taking items away in order for them to not have everything that they want. So that way they learn that by behaving inappropriately, they're not going to get the items that they want to have or have all the luxuries that they normally have. So then some would assume, well, what about children who don't have anything to take away? Because you have so many children like that in the world. How do you make that difference for children? And it can just be certain things that they enjoy that you have to take away and limit for a certain amount of days in order for them to realize what they did wrong. It's not only teaching them that you don't have to use violence to solve problems, it's teaching them that they can think about what they did. When they get a spanking and it hurts for a minute and then they go back to what they were doing, they may say, oh, I don't want to be hit again, but they didn't really think about their behaviors or explain their behaviors and what caused them. Instead, they had harm inflicted on them, hoping that it'll change their behavior and making them have fear towards their parents, which isn't an acceptable way to raise our children to think in the world. When it comes to human services, corporal punishment or how to discipline a child is a huge item because you have so many children that get abused. 1 in 4 children are abused with corporal punishment or have corporal punishment used against them. So that's a lot of our population of children. And so when it comes to the human service field, we're out there possibly working in child protective services. You have to work with these parents who are using corporal punishment in a way that's not suitable and harming their children in order to help them retrain their thinking and teaching them new skills on how to work with their kids and discipline their children in order to not harm the child, but have a good outcome so they can be an acceptable part of society. You can't just let your children run wild and not have any discipline, which many people think if you don't use corporal punishment, then that's what's going to occur. But that's not the case. Based on the studies and the information that's out there, many of your other items of discipline work just as well as corporal punishment, if not better, because you're not inflicting damage on the child. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day.